It was a time of chaos. Israel had no king, and the enemy ruled without mercy. The people of God had forgotten their God, but heaven had not forgotten them. His name was Samson. He was not born to bow. He was born to break chains. His strength would terrify kingdoms. His fury would ignite fear. He didn't need an army. He was the army. He was anointed from birth. But even the strongest man in the Bible had a weakness. They thought they could tame him. So they found someone who could touch his heart. They blinded him. They chained him. They mocked the God who made him. But heaven wasn't finished. And neither was he. In one final breath, he brought the house down. In the days when the Philistines ruled over Israel, there was no king, no vision, no deliverer, but heaven had not forgotten. She was the wife of Manoah, and she could not bear children. Her tears became her prayer, until one day,
"You shall conceive and bear a son. No razor shall touch his head. He will be a Nazirite, set apart for God from the womb. And he will begin to deliver Israel from the hand of the Philistines."
And so he was born, not just a child, but a weapon. His name was Samson. As the child grew, so did his strength, but so did the weight of his calling. And one day, the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and the beast attacked. No sword, no armor, only strength that no man could explain.
I felt power surge through my limb, more than flesh could hold. But a whisper nagged me, "Is this mine or his?"
Word spread like wildfire. A man had risen in Israel, a man who could not be stopped.
Is it true?
But strength without surrender is dangerous. And the stronger Samson became, the more reckless he became. Then he saw her, a woman from Timnah, a daughter of the Philistines.
"Get her for me, for she pleases me well."
And so began the fall of the strongest man who ever lived. The Philistines ruled with iron fists, but rumors grew of a man they could not tame. Samson demanded a Philistine bride, a challenge, not a romance. He would show them he was not under their yoke.
Listen. Let me pose a riddle.
They couldn't solve it, so they preyed on the one person he trusted. his bride. She pressed him until he gave her the answer. Samson felt the sting of betrayal.
You humiliated us with your riddle. You won't leave this city alive.
But Samson's rage burned hotter than any fear.
I should have walked away, but anger roared within me, drowning out the vow in my heart. If God gave me this strength, why do I feel so alone?
By the time the dust settled, the guards lay on the ground. Samson's bride, trembling, watched from afar. Consumed by betrayal and rage, Samson acted swiftly. The Philistines called him a terrorist. Israel called him a hero. He needed no army. He was the army. They bound him with ropes. But as they gloated, in 1 hour he struck down 1,000 men. Israel had never seen such power, nor had the Philistines. But Samson's heart was still unguarded.
I have triumphed again, yet my heart is restless. Father told me, remember your vow. Vengeance tastes so sweet. But how far can I go before everything shatters?
He had slain 1,000 men, with nothing but a jawbone. He had lit their world on fire. Fields, fortresses, pride. Samson had broken their grip, but not their resolve. The dust had settled, but the war had just begun.
He kills 1,000 with a bone and we let him vanish? Find him, search every hill, bribe every spy. We end this ghost.
The Philistines didn't forget. They adapted. They turned from war to whispers, from swords to snares. And in secret, they began a campaign, a shadow war, not to kill Samson, but to control him.
No swords, no soldiers. Use his weakness. We know what he wants. Women, praise, ego. Give him what he craves, and watch him collapse.
He was Israel's hope and their burden. No one knew what he'd do next, not even Samson himself. The Philistines feared him. Israel admired him. But Samson began to believe his own legend.
They feared me, they fled from me. But where is the voice of the Lord now? Why do I feel empty after victory?
He judged Israel for 20 years. He crushed enemies, tore through battalions. And yet, the vow that had once defined him began to fray. Then came Gaza, a stronghold of the Philistines, a city built on pride, guarded by walls and watched by spies, a city crawling with his enemies. And yet, Samson walked in, unafraid, not for war, but for pleasure. The warrior had become reckless. He entered the house of a harlot, while the enemy surrounded him. The man of God sought rest in the arms of sin.
Wait till morning. He'll be trapped.
But the spirit had not fully left him yet. They thought he was asleep, trapped behind fortified gates, surrounded by soldiers. But what they didn't know was that Samson wasn't just a man. He was a storm waiting to break loose.
First light, we strike.
But Samson didn't wait for dawn. He moved like a lion, slow but sure, and headed not away from danger, but into it. What man tears through walls of stone? What man carries the shame of a city on his back? The gate of Gaza, its pride, its power, was lifted from the earth by the hands of one man.
Stop him! Stop him!
But who can stop heaven's fury when it chooses to walk in flesh and bone? This was no mere escape. This was humiliation. Gaza's pride shattered by one man. But even victories can feed pride, and pride blinds even the strong. Samson stood, alone, unyielding, unstoppable, until he wasn't. The people waited. But the deliverer was growing tired. The Philistines watched, but they didn't strike, because they had set a snare, one unlike any other.
Let the lion believe he has found comfort, and then we will cut off his mane.
She was beautiful, she was dangerous, and she was their final weapon. Samson didn't know her name yet.
1,000 I've slain, a gate I've ripped from stone, and still, there's a hollowness I can't explain.
He had the strength of heaven, but the ache of a man without rest. And as he stepped into the valley, a pair of eyes were already watching. Her name, Delilah. It was the beginning of the end. The Philistines had failed to break Samson with swords, so they found a softer weapon, cloaked in a smile. But before the betrayal, before the silver, there was a spark. It began not with a plot, but a passing glance, not with a dagger, but a dance.
You don't look like a Philistine or a farmer. What are you, stranger?
Just a man trying to forget war.
Then taste peace, if only for tonight.
Over days and nights, the walls he built with blood and battle began to fall.
She sees me, not the judge, not the warrior, just me.
But even the sweetest wine can sour in the sun. The lords of the Philistines came not with swords, but with silver. A fortune glittered before her. But behind the shimmer was a threat.
Find the source of his strength, or die with him.
So under candlelight, the deal was struck, not with war, but with a whisper. She would betray the man who trusted her, not with weapons, but with weeping. Thus began the unraveling of the strongest man who ever lived.
My Samson, strongest of all, tell me the secret of your strength.
3 times she would ask. 3 times he would mislead.
If I'm bound with 7 fresh bowstrings, I will be weak.
7 bowstrings? Let's try it, Samson. The Philistines are upon you.
The cords broke like threads in fire. His strength still burned.
You're stronger than I thought.
No ropes can hold me, Delilah.
He could have left that night, but he did not. The ropes had broken, but desire still held him.
You mocked me. You don't trust me.
If I'm bound with new ropes, I'll be weak.
Another lie, another trap.
You say you love me, but you don't let me in.
Still, he stayed.
I should walk away, but I crave her more than I fear the Lord. Is this love? Or a noose tightening slowly?
A third time, he spun a tale.
If my 7 locks are woven into a loom.
Samson, the Philistines are upon you.
She held the price of betrayal and the cost of her own life. 1,100 pieces of silver from each of Philistine lord. But no peace.
They think I'm a weapon. They think I'm nothing. But he looked at me like I was someone.
She had learned to use beauty as armor, seduction as survival. But love was foreign territory.
I tried to be enough, but you kept your heart sealed shut. You gave me riddles when I needed truth.
He loved her, but only in fragments. She loved him, but feared for her life. And fear is a cruel master.
You say you love me, but you don't trust me. How can I keep protecting someone who hides everything? I'm not your enemy, am I?
It was not the silver that broke her. It was the silence. It was the wall between her and the one man who might have loved her.
If I fail them, they will kill me. But if I fail him, will I ever forgive myself?
She didn't want the money anymore. She wanted mercy. She wanted escape. But neither the lords of the Philistines nor the man in her bed would give it.
Tomorrow, if you still hide from me, I'll know what I have to do. Not for gold, not even for survival, but because I can't keep living in between.
The storm rolled in, and with it, the end. So she waited for one final morning, one final lie, or the truth that would destroy them both. She would try, one last time, and this time, she wouldn't fail.
You say you love me, but you hide from me. Please, please, no more riddles.
Her tears cut deeper than any sword. I've strayed so far. Maybe even God has left me. No razor has touched my head. I was a Nazirite from birth. If my hair is cut, I'll become like any other man.
He gave away his strength, but more than that, he surrendered his vow. Lock by lock, it fell. The covenant was cut.
Samson, the Philistines are upon you.
Delilah, what have you done?
He did not know. The Lord had departed.
Take his eyes.
They blinded him. The strongest man in Israel was now a prisoner, bound in bronze, alone in darkness. Thus ends the rise, and begins the fall. The strongest man in Israel was now a blind slave in Gaza, a judge in chains, a warrior reduced to grinding grain. But heaven was not silent, because sometimes God does his deepest work in the darkest places. Each turn of the wheel, a reminder of what he lost: his strength, his sight, his calling.
I threw it all away, my vow. Your spirit, forgive me.
The covenant had been cut, but not the mercy of God. The Philistines gathered to celebrate, to mock the God of Israel, to honor Dagon, a god carved from dead stone.
Bring out the Hebrew. Let our children see what becomes of a man who defies Dagon.
He once stood as a deliverer. Now, they led him like a beast. But what they didn't see was that heaven was watching.
Take me to the pillars. Let me lean just for a moment.
The pillars?
Please, Just a moment. They thought he was resting, but he was preparing to rise.
Behold, Samson the mighty, the lion killer, the blind ox.
Where is your God now, Samson? Sleeping or dead?
Let's see if the beast can still bite.
But in that moment, strength returned. He fought not with sight, but with faith.
Kill him now.
They saw a broken man, but God had awakened a weapon.
This is not my strength, but his.
He could not see the crowd, but he could feel the weight of shame, of destiny, of calling.
O Lord God, remember me, strengthen me just once more, not for revenge, but for your name.
He asked not just for justice, but for redemption.
I was born for this. Let my death mean more than my life.
And the Spirit of the Lord returned. The judge had risen one last time.
Let me die with the Philistines.
The house of Dagon fell. The pride of the Philistines crushed beneath the hand of God. No throne, no crown, no choir. But in heaven, a judge returned home, his arms stretched wide, not just in strength, but in surrender, in his death. Samson defeated more enemies than in all his life. He lost his eyes, but regained his vision. He lost his strength, but found his soul. And they buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol, in the tomb of his father. Thus the strong fell, but not in vain. The final judge had passed his sentence. The dust settled. The temple lay in ruins. The Philistine lords were no more, and there, beneath the rubble, lay the man they could never truly control. He lived only a short time, yet he shook nations, not by armies, but by faith and failure. He did not die a king. He did not die victorious. He died blind, broken, and alone. But he did not die defeated. Because in his death, he fulfilled the mission God had placed on him from birth. He dealt a blow to Israel's oppressors that echoed for generations. Samson was not perfect. He was not always obedient. He was not always wise. But in his final moments, he remembered who gave him strength. And that was enough. Some say Samson's story is about raw power. Others say it's about tragic weakness, but truly, it's about grace. A man who lost everything and still found his purpose. A man who failed and still fulfilled God's plan. Not because he was perfect, but because he turned back before it was too late. And you? Have you stumbled? Have you been blinded by pride? Chained by your own choices? Then remember, if God could use Samson, he can still use you. Your strength is not your talent, not your fame, not your past victories. Your strength is the Spirit of the Lord, and that strength is never too far gone. Samson is gone, but his story remains. A warning, a mirror, a call to rise again. For the enemy may bind your hands, but he cannot bind your purpose. He may blind your eyes, but he cannot blind God's vision for your life.
Had I only seen sooner, yet in my last breath, I saw him more clearly than ever.
And maybe, just maybe, heaven is waiting for you to push the pillars, not with strength, but with surrender. If Samson's story moved you, and you wonder how God's plan unfolds through empires and prophecy, then watch our movie, The Book of Daniel's End-Time Prophecy. Some believe Daniel saw only his own era. Others believe he saw ours. What if the words sealed for centuries are about to be fulfilled? In Daniel you'll witness the rise and fall of kingdoms, ancient warnings echoing now, and visions that could shake our world. Click to watch the Book of Daniel's End-Time Prophecy and discover prophecies that might be unfolding before our eyes.